Today, I am going to talk on the Cloud Run. Cloud Run is the Google provide as a managed services, and this is another way you can say you can deploy our containerized application on the Google Cloud platform. So we have another if we have any application and generally we are running as a containerized application so that we can deploy as a manually. You can create one virtual machine VM and deploy your proper application using the Docker. And another way, we can just use the Kubernetes GKE, Google Cloud Kubernetes engine. That's also provide a facility. You can create the clusters, and in this cluster, you can run your application, containerized application. Okay, so in both scenario, in the case of virtual machines, as a developer, our responsibility we have to create the virtual machine, machine type, hardware, everything. And in the case of GKE also, we are our responsibility. We are going to create the cluster, manage the maybe autopilot mode or a standard mode, some kind of a configuration, some kind of a infrastructure a developer are going to consider. So Cloud Run is more focused on hey developer, just you focus on develop your applications, and once your application is ready, just tell, hey cloud provider, can you run my code? Everything's about the infrastructure, about the machine, about the cluster, about the load balancing, about the auto scaling. Everything is taken care by the Google Cloud itself. So Cloud Run is a kind of a service that help us developer can run his containerized applications easy and simple way. Okay, so let's start. So as we talk, Cloud Run is a fully managed platform or fully managed services that offer by the GCP, and that's allow us to run stateless containers on the serverless infrastructure. So this is also terminology here, serverless. That means there is no server, no. So you are saying ki Google Cloud, I specify that this is the service Cloud Run. If you want to run your application, that is the containerized applications. So surely running your application, you need one particular server on which server or a machine where your application going to runs and serve the request to the server. It's clearly. But why here GCP say it is a serverless infrastructure? That means the boundary between the infrastructures and your software is separated out. That means ki whatever the hardware, machine, infrastructure setup, you as a software developer, you're not responsibility. You just ignore them. Just you focus to build your software, and just other part, deployment part, server part, configuration part, less the cloud provider, any cloud provider provide. So here serverless means the server, the virtual machines or hardware or database, anything for your to running your application, what the resources required, what the infrastructure required, that is provided by the cloud. Okay, so we as a software developer, our responsibility just build the code and tell, hey Google Cloud, can you run my this code? So from software engineering point of view, there is no server. We focus on just building the product, just focusing on the customer business requirement. And the rest part about the deployment, about the operating system, about the server, everything is taken care by your cloud provider. So serverless means so your server, your virtual machine, your hardware or CPU, these things are hidden from developer perspective. Software engineering just focus on a code. So due to that, say this is the serverless. So nowadays, all the cloud provider you can talk about AWS, you can talk about the Azure. Everyone provide the serverless services. That means you don't means developer don't consider about the hardware, about the virtual machine, about the about the any infrastructure, networking, everything taken care by your cloud provider. You just focus on your business logics, your code, your product, and just say, hey, Google Cloud, I want to run my application. Due to the cloud run, just you run your application on the cloud. Okay, and it is enabled to deploy and manage containerized application without worrying about underlying infrastructure scaling and provisioning. So just you deploy your containerized application. Don't think, don't worry how my infrastructure would be, what number of CPU, memory, operating system, scaling, horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, provisioning, everything are taken care by the Google Cloud Platform. Okay, and even you can say you can just deploy the code written in any programming language. Cloud Run say generally support as of now you can run using the Go language, Node.js, Python, Java, .NET, Ruby, and any programming language where you are writing the code. Let's write the code and just make the containerized application. Now your container image available. This image can run on a server. Okay, so here say if you just build the container image from it, you can just write the code and build the container image. Now container image just give the path to the Google Cloud and Google Cloud run your code. So you can say even in fact building container image is also optional. In a Google Cloud, you have option. You can develop your applications, everything, write the code, and generally we developer going to the make our container image. Container image that contain your software code, your dependency, your library, required all the infrastructure. Just mention ki for my running application, this kind of prerequisite software required, this is the dependency, this is the library, everything just package bundle. That is the image. So Google Cloud say if you have a container image, that's good. But it is not mandatory. Cloud Run, it is not mandatory. You must need have a container image. But generally, we using Cloud Run as a for running our containerized application. Okay, because we know my applications, what kind of dependency, what kind of library, what versions of library I require. So I can just package the container, make the containerized image, and tell, hey, Cloud Run can run my code. Okay, and if containerizations is optional, that means just you go write your code on any supported language and just you can use your source code deployment option that build your container for you and using the best practices language you are using. That means here say Google Cloud say don't worry, you just write your code. Okay, just write your code and just tell source code deployment options. So here this is the source code written all the folder files and just tell the Google Cloud, just GCP Google Cloud says no, don't worry, I'll make the one container image for you. And then I can say, hey Cloud Run, you can deploy run this containerized application. So both options you have a container itself you created and tell the Google Cloud cloud provider run, or just tell the source code, hey, this is my source code. You can just build the container image and then deploy the code. And also we have options now. Cloud Run allow developer just spend their time to writing their code, very little time on operating, configuring, scaling their Cloud Run services. So whatever the how your application going to runs, you do just little bit focus, but more focus on your building, developing your software. Okay, even you don't have to create the clusters or manage infrastructure in order to be productivity with the Cloud Run. So in the Cloud Run, you don't need to decide, hey, I am going to the create one virtual machines or a set of virtual machines or clusters of machines, right? Clusters of machine. What would be the load balancing? How our user traffic going on? How uh, going to scale our application, scale down applications? These things are taken care by the Google Cloud Run. Okay. So there are some basic concept about this Cloud Run. Like first things, as discussed, prefer the cloud runs on the containerized application. That means Google Cloud Run containerize uh, containers to package and deploy, and container provide the consistent reliable way to deploy application, ensuring they work as expected across the different environment. Okay, so container help us. Container, whenever you build software, that's you want my application across the different operating system, different infrastructure, different situation. Application behaves same, not the library issue, environment issue. So what do you do? Whatever the required packages, source code, library, dependency, you just bundle them in a container image. Now this container image go and run on the A operating system, B operating system, C infrastructure, even different cloud provider. Each cloud provider, whenever you're running applications, always behave the same kind of a consistency in the your applications environment. Okay, so containerize help us ensure that your applications behave same in the development environment, staging environment, production environment, A cloud provider, B cloud provider, because you know my application required what the versions of dependency, what the version of library, what the version of particular softwares, right? So you can just package them. That containerize help us to make your application deployment seamless across the different stages, different cloud provider. And even cloud run more focus on as a serverless. So you can say GCP Google Cloud Platform offer multiple serverless services. This is the one of serverless services known as Cloud Run. The Cloud Run is a serverless services. That means you don't need to provision or manage servers. The platform, that means GCP, automatically handle scaling, provisioning, management of underlying infrastructure. So you just focus on your core business and let the cloud provider automatically creating, handling your scaling, provisioning, management, whatever the server, database, networking required, taken care by your cloud provider. And generally nowadays in the serverless architectures, generally we prefer your applications should be stateless. So stateless application can easily be scale up, scale down as your application traffic going to increase, because there is no need to maintain state across the different node, different server. Generally prefer way, nowadays we are going to build our application as possible stateless. Lots of benefit stateless had, but there is a no any thumb rule that you always need to build application that would be stateless. It is depend upon your business, depend upon the situation, what kind of data conversation context you want to preserve. Okay, so the Cloud Run is more preferable way to design for the stateless applications, and which means that each request are independent and does not rely on the state of previous requests. Stateless means if one request go and your server receive this request, do something, okay, and response back, and maybe next request come and the same server, it's fine, they are properly responding, but might be another next request can be go to the different server, and different server can be response properly. There is no pre-calculated or pre-state are required for the another machine, okay, cookie something. So here server less architecture support, you can focus to building stateless application. That means ki one request is independently works, and next request can be work independently, so that they can scale out your applications easily without any kind of a hurdle. So talk generally why we need to use Cloud Run. First, this simplified deployment. Now your deployment is very simple. Cloud Run provides a simple way to deploy the containerized application without worrying about underlying infrastructures. Second, serverless scaling means ki they are serverless and scale automatically. That means ki Cloud Run automatically scale your application to handle in the case of high traffic, ensure the application always available and responsible. High availability, scalability that's automatically offered by the Cloud Run. Even this is a cost effective solution, you can say. Cloud Run you have a different two pricing model per request per instances. So that means you only pay for the resources that's used by your application, that make your cost effective option for the application and while you're running. And even this Cloud Run so provide easy way, very smooth integration with other cloud services. Maybe you could talk about the cloud storage, cloud firestore, cloud pops up, any big data, big table, any query, any kind of other Google Cloud services. Easily, cloud functions are integrated. Okay. And these are the regions automatically auto scale, highly available application, cost effectiveness, simple deployment, and easily integrate with the other Google Cloud services. These are the point which help us to choose, okay, I'm going to deploy my application in the Cloud Run. If you talk about the high level architectures of the Cloud Run, as mentioned, Cloud Run focus on the containerized application that is required on container registry, maybe Google provided container registry, yeah, Docker have container registries, any kind of container. Just you push your code in the container image in the container registry service, which stores and manage your images. And then Cloud Run service itself, it's a service responsible for deploying and managing your containerized applications. And request router, this is the one component in the Cloud Run, the request router. Request router is responsible to routing your incoming request to appropriate container instances, because multiple on the multiple instance Cloud Run can run. And container instance means the container instance that a runtime environment for your containerized application. So whenever you are going to run a deploy application, you require your runtime environment. The runtime environment here known as container instances. The multiple container instances can be for your application. Any request come, your request router component decide, hey, your request go to the specific container instances. So these are the very high level, whatever the client applications you have, just maybe web requests or any event, any HTTP request, go to the cloud run service, and cloud run service have a your application deployed on the multiple container instance for the load balancing, for scalability, for availability, for fault tolerance, everything that design support. You just focus, hey, I have a code and want to deploy, and all the almost NFR find your application highly available, HA part, your scalability part, reliability parts, and your fault tolerant parts, all taken care by your cloud run service. You just deploy your containerized application on the cloud run. These are the scenario use cases where this cloud run is highly fit. Whenever you are any kind of web applications or any websites that suit for the any RESTful API or web server or web frameworks or any APIs, any kind of application you are building, that's a web application, you can say API, web servers, web framework, uh, cloud run is well suited for. Even nowadays, the in the microservice architectures, cloud run is very good fit for the microservice architectures, where each services are deployed in the separate container instances, and each containers are independently scale, independently manage the load, and even any real-time data processing or batch job processing, where you want cloud and also fit for the real-time data processing, even the stream data processing, IoT data processing, event driven data processing, such architecture where data you readings and do some things, Cloud Run is also suit here. Even the machine learning kind of algorithms, artificial intelligence kind of application you want, where just you want to deploy and test your models. So in this scenario, these Cloud Run help to. So microservice environment architecture, web application, stream API, real-time streaming, IoT processing. These are the use scenario. If you are doing, just think Cloud Run can help us to easy deployment and provide all the NFR for your application. So generally, if you are going to deploy your cloud, there are two mode, uh, two way you can say. First, as a cloud run service and cloud run jobs. Okay, so these cloud run is just for the any web request, any event, or any function, and any particular activity happen, then you want to run this code. Okay, let's say any HTTP request happen, you run this code, or any particular event happen, or any kind of request, and so cloud run service help us. And the cloud run jobs just like perform any specific works, or maybe where the batch jobs are asynchronous jobs, schedule jobs. You want just tell, hey, this is my code, this is my application, this is my function, this will run on every 10 minutes or every first of the month. Whatever the criteria, you schedule them, schedule jobs or work, or a particular, let's keep particular event happen, you can say. So these both options we have, just depend upon the your use cases. You can deploy your application as a service or as a job, generally asynchronous processing, you can say. And these are the some basics feature, lots of features cloud run have, but just like simple, whatever the code or service you deploy, they have a provide the unique HTTPS endpoint for every services, so that customer or client can access your application. They provide the one unique specific URL to you, and this URL are accessed by your client, your applications, and now these internally the clusters of a container are managed by your cloud run, and your requests are properly routed to the specific container instances. And here also auto scaling happen, that means whenever your first request come, They are going to create the instances and supporting. If more requests come, they are going to add more container instances to support your and built-in traffic management. So if your application receive huge traffics, they are going to split the multiple instances of your applications, and in this way they can manage automatically adding more container instance for your applications or maybe, and they provide the public and private services. If you want, this service can only accessed by the specific authorized person or non-authorized person or particular group of peoples. So roles in responsibility also segregate. You can define, hey, this services is only access my internal purpose, my company employee, yeah, public, yeah, set up groups of people. So those bifurcations, access of who will access, that will also offer as a feature, and scale to zero and minimum. So the cloud run focus, if your application no requests come, there is a no container instances running, zero instance can be. But sometime in this scenario, what happens whenever first request come, at that time, because there is no container instance running for application, then time the container instance launch, and then uh, your request is going to serve by the container. This is sometimes known as cold start. That means at a time by default in the cloud run service, no container instance is running, no container instance is running, but whenever any first request come, container instance started and serving your request. More requests come, another container instance are started for your services, and all containers are run immutable, you can say, because this is a serverless application, a stateless application. But sometime you want to avoid, if my first request come, still I want it should be response so quickly. So in this scenario, you can just specify the minimum instead. Hey, whenever our any requests come or not come, at least one or two container instances must be run. So these all things you can offer. So you can say cloud run according to your need, according to your requirement. Maybe scale till 0 or 1 or 2 or 100, depend upon your user traffics. And you can also ensure that to avoid the cold start kind of first request also serve as quickly as the next all the requests come, then we can specify the minimum instances, so that the cloud run ensure that this minimum number of instances must be run for your application. Okay, so these are the key features, you can say, but lot features the cloud run offer. Okay, so let's quick demo how we can create. Okay, so just come on the let's go to the our console, and here in this go to cloud run. Here, go from the cloud run or just search here cloud run. Cloud run. Yeah, this is the cloud run. So once you find the cloud run here is a mentioned services like cloud run service expose unique endpoint and automatically scale the underlying infrastructure to handle the incoming requests. Deploy container image, source code, or function to create the service. So we have a even image, or even source code, or even a function you can deploy as a container, as a cloud run. So whenever you are want to deploy, so here we have a deploy container. And whenever you are clicking deploy container, we have a two option. One option is the service mode, another option is a job. Okay, so we have to decide, hey, I'm going to run particular batch jobs or some streaming jobs or particular scheduled jobs, so you can go with the jobs. And if you want to just deploy the services like endpoint or in those scenario, you can go just deploy the services. Let's click on the services. So whenever you click on the services, so here a couple of options you have. Okay, so here, notice deploy. Here, one option is deploy from your container registry, maybe artifact registry or the Docker Hub. So these are the public repository, you can say, a registry where you can store your applications containerized image. Okay, and Cloud Run say, hey, I can just tell me the container image URL, and I'm going to deploy your application. Just specify my, hey, this is my container image URL, and just that everything is taken care by your application. So here, even all other parameter also, whenever you are going to specify your container image, and after that they are generating a unique URL for you. So this is the URL where you are going to access your service, and also provide your accessibility. This request or this API or this service is accessible, authentication required, yeah, unauthentication required. If require authentication, you can provide your managed authentication all the cloud IAM services. So whatever authentication, authorizations, and access token, everything's are taken care by with the Cloud Run. Or if you want to, oh, this is unauthenticated invocation, also allow, hey, no, this service is publicly available, anyone can access. You just say, hey, this is the unauthenticated. And also we have a billing. We should aware whatever the cloud service you are going to use. Okay, so what are the charges cloud provider you have to pay? So there are two mode in the Cloud Run services. One is the request base, one is the instance base. You have to choose. The Google going to charge you on the basis of request. That means ki charge only when processing request or CPU is limited outside of the request. So just charge on the basis of the processing request. When they are processing request, at that time they are going to the charge. Another way, hey, charge for the entire life cycle of instances. So full CPU or entire life cycle is, so one way, if requests come, the only request processing times Google going to charge. If one request, two requests, three requests, million requests, so per request charging happen. This is the one way. Another way, let's say I say I have this one instances. So if my instances is up, just you charge the complete instances. Even requests, one request come, thousand requests come, and whatever number of requests come, the charges is not on the basis of number of requests, but charges on the basis of the container instance, how many instances are used. So you have to decide, you are going to pay on the basis of your instance base or request base. Okay, and this is a scaling service automatically. Here if you specify your kind of scaling, like your zero means if no requests come on the for the Cloud Run, that means your no container instances are going to start by the Cloud Run. So in this case, when first request come, at that time Cloud Run going and start one in container instance for you. Once it started, then the request is going to the server. So if sometime you it's good, but sometime you want no. Even my first request come or the 10th request come, all would be feel the same user experience, same performance. So in this case, you can go no minimum. At least I want always should be run one instances, and once more requests come, more instances are going to add automatically. Okay, so these are the services you can take the benefit. And just after that, again, your networking part, you are going to allow all everyone can access your application from internet or only internal. So networking, scaling, billing, authentication authorization, unique endpoints, your region, in which region you want to deploy this, because you want to deploy your application to the nearest customer user. So all these parameter you can specify. So for creating any cloud run, you have to specify your container image URL, and once done, what the region, in which region you want to run your application, they provide automatically for unique URL, endpoint services URL, and ensure you decide this service is run by the authenticated user or unauthenticated required IAM service or not. Billing service you have to choose, request base or instance base, or you want to decide auto scaling, minimum is scaling should be 0 or minimum 1 or 2, whatever you decide. And our traffic networking come in all the internet or internet what the traffic you want, and lot other parameter you can also specify if you want, like container volume, networking, additional information you want to provide, you can provide. Okay, but these are, you want to add more details configuration, execution environment, default, first generation, second generation, fast cold start. These are the different features you can say. You can also specify. Okay, so let's just test. Sorry, let's just test one simple service. Okay, so let's us here Google Cloud option you can just select, and here your container registry, or you can say artifact registry can say the Google or any container. And by default Google provide one demo container. Let's get hello world and select them. So here you can just select, hey, this is your container application URL, and this is by default your service names here and your regions, and this is your proper unique https URL for you. And you can decide required authentication or unauthenticated. Let's allow unauthenticated invocation, anyone can access. And billing requests, decide request based or instance based. Let's go default. And scaling by default 0, that means key application is started, cloud run is started, but they're not running any instance until the first request is not come. And this is only for internal or all. Let's go default all, and all other parameter you can specify. Just this is very simple, just select them and say hey create. Now Google Cloud Run going to deploy this containerized application in the Google Cloud environment. Now your applications are ready. So notice your application deployed, and if you to go to check details, this is all the matrix parameters whenever requests come, and this is the logs, this is the revision history, all the logs you can check here. Here the revision history. If you are deploying multiple versions, so in this case you can, I have only one instances, that means 100% traffic go to the same. But let's new versions of your application you want to deploy, version 2 or version 3, so you want to decide, hey, this is the 50% 35 50%, or canary deployment, what the rolling out, everything you can just configure here. and trigger networking security, and this is a configuration file. Here a config YAML file help us to deploy this. Okay, so let's test this application. This is our regions where my application running, and this is the complete URL. Okay, and just copy this URL and test. Your application is running. Now your containerized application is running, and the first request go, and after that, Cloud Run create the instances and serving a request. Okay, this is the way you can deploy your containerized application. Is very simplest way. So let us deploy one more services like from the we have deployed from the artifact registry. Let's go to the Docker Hub. Go to the Docker Hub and search any public Docker Hub, and this is the Docker Hub, also your container image library, and here any public accessible container. Let's search any hello world REST API, some test. So any application you can select. Hello, hello world REST API. You can select. Let's hello. I want to just look simple. Hello world REST API. So lots of REST API. So let's say this is the simple 28-minute. This is the any. You can search any API and just search out the go to the tag, and these are the tags available. You can take out whatever the tags available. Let's this is the release tags. Just you. This is the complete your URL. This git pull, not the git pull just from here. This is the your URL. Just copy this and go to the cloud run. Go to the cloud run and just provide your container image URL. Here the cloud run try to find out from this container image from the artifact registry or the Docker Hub. If sometime you get specific error, just specify the proper URL docker hub.io dot something complete path, and it will find out your okay, and everything is okay. Regions and default endpoints, let's allow authenticator, billing service, everything okay. Let's uncreate them. So this way your application is quickly deployed. Okay, and now it's done, deployment done, everything done. Go to the services. Now we have it. One is the hello world REST API. Let's go to the test this API. Everything's are here. Go to the this is the public URL, copy them and test it. So now your application should be responsive. Your hello world true. Okay, so this way you can say from even you can deploy uh, cloud run services from the registry, Google provided artifact registry or Docker Hub registry. So, and once done, you can do even another options you have if you want to deploy your application, not the as a containerized application. This is the one way. Okay, another way. Okay, I want to deploy application from the source code. Just say, hey, GitHub, this is my GitHub source code or function, and also your application can deploy it. Even you can just provide a specific function or code, you can also deploy. Okay, so these are the you can say this is the mode available. You can deploy your Cloud Run from as a container applications using the artificial registry or about the Docker, or you can deploy your application from the source code. Just provide your GitHub repository, check out the source code or any function you want. This is the preview feature. So these are the different mode where Cloud Run help us to deploy our services. Okay, and once your applications are deployed, your testing done, you want to just free them, just you can go quickly here. You can just be notice that here the good part, always remember about the revision. Whenever the number of times you are going to deploy the, because one application deployed and in this application some modification happen, you deploy another. So if you deploy it, when deploy another, so another revisions are added here, another revisions are added here. So as now, and now you decide the traffic is let's here 50%, here 20% here. So here traffic distributions you can decide, change the distribution as well. As the by default what the Cloud Run suggests, whatever the latest deployment, they route all requests 100% to the same application. So here, you want some only 10% of traffic go to the latest version and all other go to the oldest version. Let's you deploy the new application. A new application have any kind of fault, a problem. So easily just you have don't need to roll back or something undo. Just say, hey, change the traffic distribution now from 100%, move traffic from here to this version. Okay, so all things you can easily do. Okay, so here we have you have option, you can manage traffic, just click here. While the question is that by default one URL, so here if you click the manage traffic, and manage traffic you have options, you are going to traffic about the multiple revision history, version 1, version 2, version 3, any versions, and here change the traffic 10%, 20%, 56, and here on the basis of here select these are the different history, whatever the history you have. Okay, you can distribute some traffic here, distribute some traffic here. Okay, and maybe 50%, 10%, whatever the traffic you want, just distribution happen. Okay, so in this way you can manage your traffics. Okay, and even you can specify some tags, on the tag basis you can do the traffic management. So these are the, you can even add the revision tags here, everything's right. So this help us automatically scaling traffic distributions, public private access, unique your URL for your service. So these are the things, if you want to just my deployment testing, then you want to remove them, just select them and there is option which you want to delete, and the both they are going to delete it. Okay. So these are the demo parts about the Cloud Run, but this is a very simple way to deploy your application on the Cloud Run, right? And if you want to learn more on the Cloud Run, because surely in one video we cannot complete everything, but surely if when you are going to work on the Cloud Run, you should know some details, some basic concept. Just go and check this URL, and here you can find whatever we discuss, almost everything are mentioned here. overview, Cloud Run model, container context, overview, deployment, some sample web services, execute job, deploy simple functions. All other things here available in this case of how to set up an environment, deployment service, web service, managing services, configuration, everything. You have more detail how to execute jobs, configure job, manage jobs, what are the practices, how to configure networking, how to configure your security authentication authorization, how to monitoring logs, view everything's audit logs, everything's, and some migrations if you want to application migrate from here. So if you want to more details about the, just I given the overview, but you want to more details about this Cloud Run, how deployment happen. So let's check out this complete details are available here. Okay, that is for the today, and I hope this information give you the little bit idea about the Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is the kind of auto fully managed service in the GCP. Okay, and here this Cloud Run service is the serverless function, you can say, architectures, where you can deploy your stateless application as a containerized application, and you just forget everything about the server, about the infrastructure, about the networking, about the kind of any kind of hardware related infrastructure scaling, highly availability, all things is provided by the Cloud Run fully managed GCP service to you. Okay, so let's explore. Hope this initial information is give you the little bit idea what is the Cloud Run, how you can use them, and it will save lots of times of developer to deploy and test. Hope this information is helpful for you.